Welcome to the fucking Tech Dad Pod. How you doing?
Tech Tab Pod.
I think that's the first time we've both done it.
Is it?
This is good. I think so. I
I
don't
like
know.
it.
Yeah, me too. It's stuck.
I also like you.
Thanks. Like you too, buddy.
Yeah. How's your week?
It has been a challenging week. First week back off of holiday, obviously, and Jaden's first week at his new school. So that's been an adjustment. Mainly, because he doesn't really know the way. It's an easy walk, but he doesn't know it properly yet. So I've been walking with him in the mornings and then just go and meeting him at the end. First day was absolutely fine. He didn't start till 10 till 3. I thought, oh, you've got it easy. Yesterday and today are just normal. Yesterday and today are just normal school days. But today I walked with him this morning. But I've said to him on the way home, you're on your own. I'm not coming.
See if he actually makes it, huh?
Yeah. So it's
You're
the
going to be in the
equivalent
fucking doghouse if he doesn't come home.
It's the equivalent of teaching a kid to swim just by throwing them in the pool and just seeing if they come back up or not.
You just hope they pop back up at some point, you know?
Yeah. Although in
Have
my
you seen?
defense,
No, go on.
I've sent him with his phone today. And we've got the Find My thing set up. So I've said to him, look, worst case, if you get lost, ring me. I will be able to find you. I felt like Liam Neeson in Taken. Like, I will find you. Just fine.
I will find you, and then I will kill you for not listening to me. Oh dear Lord. Yeah, have you seen those videos of babies getting thrown in the pool and then they just float back up to the surface and they rescue themselves? It's pretty fucking wild.
Yes. My niece does it.
Does she?
Then she is one of the babies that just gets thrown under. I say thrown. There is like an actual technique for the parents are not neglecting them.
There's a correct technique for help trying to get your child to drown.
Yeah.
To not drown, should I say? Oh
yeah.
my god.
I think the whole point of it is that they learn to come back up, but also roll over onto their back. I think that's the point of it. But yeah, seeing it up close is quite scary especially when there's no warning. And your sister just
sling them in,
throws the kid underwater. It's like, should you be there? Should you be... I don't know.
Is that allowed?
Yeah. Yeah, if you've had enough, just say, I'll take her, it's fine. But you don't need to resort to that.
Seems a bit excessive.
Yeah.
Oh dear. How was the school adjustment, you know? Are we experiencing any tiredness, any kind of behaviour dip or anything like that?
So far it's all good. I mean, it helps that his day is actually shorter now because he doesn't need to get up until... He's getting up at 7 at the moment, but realistically, he probably doesn't need to get up until 7:30. And
that's right.
Yeah, so he's getting a lay-in. And at the moment, the first week of school is pretty much just being shown around and being told what is expected of you. It's not a whole lot that he needs to take on board so far. Although he did have... Yesterday morning, there was a whole... I wanted to just walk off and leave him because he was just complaining constantly. He was complaining about the uniform. It was like, the uniform's the uniform. Get used to it because this is 5 years. For 5 years, you've got this uniform. Just get over it. And then he's moaning about the amount of homework he's going to get. Bearing in mind, he hasn't been given any homework yet. So I said to him, you don't even know how much homework you're going to get, and you're already complaining about it.
Dude.
To the point he actually said that he's going to raise a petition with Keir Starmer about getting homework banned.
Tell you what,
dude,
you cannot fault children's ambition.
I know. But I tried to explain to him that the whole point of homework is to reinforce what you've learned in the classroom. So I said to him, if you're in like a maths lesson, you learn something, you get given homework, everyone gets the homework wrong. The teacher knows they need to go back and redo that lesson. That's all it is. But yeah, he didn't like that.
Oh, I hope back to school's gone well for everyone. If you're listening and you have kids going back to school, I feel for you. I feel for you. My youngest is at preschool, but he goes to preschool 2 days a week. Then the rest of the childminder still, and then my eldest, he went back on Wednesday, and had them on Wednesday night and Thursday night. Got them again tonight as well. And yeah, their behavior, his listening yesterday, and like there was some punishments handed down yesterday for not listening. We got them lists recently that they have to. We got them lists recently. So my partner and I got them lists, and their mum and her partner have the same lists at their house as well. So the list is 10 things that we expect them to do every day. Now it starts with staying in bed at night when you go to bed. So they're like getting up and coming downstairs and all that kind of stuff. Make your bed, get dressed, tidy up after dinner, tidy up before bed. And then the last two on the list, which are more general, are listening and doing as asked first time, and respecting grown-ups. And the listening part seemed to be out the bloody window yesterday. And it got to the point where I was just like, still, they were doing the tidy up before bed, but my eldest was messing around, my youngest was messing around, and I asked twice. I was like, right, that's it. Tomorrow, for my eldest, no iPad. For my youngest, he doesn't have something like an iPad that's easy to take away. So for him completing his list, he gets like a little treat, like a Smartie or a couple of Smarties or something. Like no Smarties. Youngest took the punishment and his grain of salt, started tidying up like straight away, and then my eldest just fell apart, like falling. Like this was just before bedtime, and so super tired, and it was like I told him that I was going to cut one of his legs off or something. I swear to God, like, and like
I think kids now would prefer that.
Cried.
If you said to a kid now, look, you've got the choice. You got the choice of I cut your leg off, or I take your iPad away. I think they'd go with the leg.
No leg. I think you're right. But yeah. So so through the tears, had a conversation with them about listening, and like it was almost like we introduced this list, right? So for any parent that's thinking about doing something similar, like getting them to realize that listening's done every single day was one of the conversations that we had to have through the tears last night. It's just like, yes, you'll be able to check that thing off your list tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new day. The list resets and we can carry on. But yeah, so he woke up this morning and he was in a much better mood. He'd had a proper night's sleep, and it was just even taking away that iPad, it's just like he's not got up at 6:30 straight away and then gone and got the iPad or whatever. So, like these things work, and it's just like that those broader general rules and general behavior is so much, I think, harder maybe for them to grasp. And yeah, we had the first big fallout from the list yesterday, but I'm thinking it's just one of those stick with it kind of things, and the behavior will change to what we've kind of set out and what we expect. But yeah, listening is a big thing for me, for my kids. Like doing was their first time, and them respecting grown-ups is like a huge thing for me that I'm trying to instill into them at an early stage. But yeah, they're definitely feeling some of that tiredness, I think, and that going back into the new school routine. Probably going to be exhausted today, so we'll see how they handle the weekend. But it's just a chill weekend for us this weekend, so be nice.
Yeah, same. Although, I mean, Jaden's got his football this weekend, which is fine. I don't know why, but it's just reminded me of something that is. I don't know if this is unique to Jaden's new school. He told me it's about PE. He told me yesterday. When he first said it, I was a bit taken aback. But then I thought, actually, this makes total sense. So, at school, did you ever do the PE test?
So, no, I managed to fade it somehow, and I'm not really sure how. Like, whether they just didn't get round to it, or I missed it for some reason. But yeah, no, I never did it.
Right, so...
The school did do it, but I personally didn't do it.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, we had to do it, which was fine. I say it was fine. It was a little bit of a slap in the face when, and I've spoken about the the boy I went to school with that ended up playing professionally football and all of that kind of stuff. It was very disheartening doing the Bleep test with him because he completed the fucking thing. Every time he got to level 21 and just completed it. And it was like...
Bleep test completed, mate.
Yeah, literally. I think there was one time where it was just him left. And I think that he must have had some sort of agreement with the teachers. And they just said, look, just stop at this time so we can finish the lesson early or something. But it was a massive kick to the ego for everyone. But anyway, I digressed. So in Jaden's new school, they're being told that they're being put into sets for PE. And that's going to be based on their fitness, which is obviously calculated through the Bleep test. For anyone listening that doesn't know what the Bleep test is, it's essentially shuttle runs over a period of distance. You need to make it to the other end of I did it in a sports hall. So the lines were kind of already... It was basically one end of the sports hall before the Bleep and so on. It's a very simple test. The Bleeps get closer and closer together the higher the levels, etc. But yeah, I just found it really interesting that they're going to do a Bleep test and then based on that, their levels, they'll be put into sets. Because it actually makes a lot of sense. And you can tailor their PE based on and you'll be around kids with similar fitness levels.
Would you say that something like the Bleep test is more applicable, or certain fitness levels is more applicable to some sports than others? So, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I asked Jaden what level or how well do you think you'll rank, and he said he thinks he'd come in the bottom or middle tier. I said to him, but you play football, you play matches on a Sunday, and you train twice a week. Like, your fitness level should be higher than a lot of other kids doing this, because obviously there's different types of fitness as well. So if I flip it onto Amelia doing gymnastics, she's very, very strong. But if I wanted her to do a Bleep test, I think she'd do miserably because it's a totally different type of fitness.
Yeah. It's just like if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it's going to think it's stupid, right? That
Exactly.
analogy.
Love that analogy.
Oh, yeah. Fitness. How did we get here? I feel like we just end up in places that I don't expect these days. There's just sort of this podcast is that we just...
It's pretty much... Well,
it's just you and I just rambling at each other.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. You've got a work trip coming up.
I do.
How are you feeling about it? Because it's a big one.
It is a big one. The conference is one of the biggest tech conferences on the planet in San Francisco. It's called Dreamforce. I'm excited. This is my fourth. Started in 2019, then we had the COVID years, and then 22, 23, and now 24 to be my fourth one. I think it changes every year. I think it changes in some ways, but in other ways it stays the same. So it's always a pretty intense week. Like, you're on your feet for 14, 15 hours a day, and like by the time you get to bed, you're just like pass out, crash out. So it's intense, and the ecosystem that we're in, there's always a new hype cycle for something and things to learn about and things to stay connected to. Like, our industry and tech generally changes pretty fast. And I think we're probably in one of the more accelerated industries for that rate of change and what people are talking about. So that in of itself, staying on top is a challenge. So yeah, I'm excited to see everybody. Like, Salesforce has a really great community aspect to it. So excited to see all like the kind of friends that I've made over the last kind of 5 or 6 years that I've been doing this. And then, of course, I'd say I'm excited to go to San Francisco. That's not really the case anymore. San Francisco's changed quite a lot. It's experiencing quite a lot of hardship. in terms of like shops shutting down, like their economy. You know, they have a really significant like homeless problem there as well, and drug problem, which has got worse since COVID, which is quite disheartening. Like I thought it was bad in 2019, but yeah, last year I was there in March, and like the difference between March this year and November 2019 is really noticeable. Like the main shopping streets, a lot of the shops have closed and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for a number of reasons, but the hype around it once you've done it a few times is like it's all kind of business now. When I go, like the excitement of doing it and the novelty of doing it is worn off. But I'm excited to carry on with the business aspect of it for sure.
Yeah, touching on the homeless thing that you just mentioned. So I've only done Dreamforce once, which was last year, but I've done the developer conference that Salesforce have earlier in the year 3 times. Yeah, I've done it 3 times. The first time was in 2019, then this year and last year. And I noticed, like you, I noticed a big shift in just the city in general. Because I specifically remember when I went in 2019, there was a lot of homeless people, but they were friendly and they were warm to you. So I remember I would be walking down the street and I'd have like a homeless person compliment my tattoos, for example, and there'd be people about to go into a Starbucks and they'd have a conversation with a homeless person that's close by and ask if they want any food, and then they'd come out and with like a breakfast and lunch for them. So although there was a lot of homeless people, they were approachable and it wasn't a problem, if that makes sense. Whereas I think, like you say, especially since COVID, I think the opioid problem is just out of control there now, because it's to a point where I notice it the most, I think, at Dreamforce last year, where you would walk down certain streets and some homeless people would just look like zombies. There's absolutely nothing going on, and they're off their face on fentanyl or whatever it may be, and it's just really, really sad to see.
Yeah, it is sad. It's really heartbreaking, you know, when they're like, it's not even that. It's just like the open use in the street as well, like smoking crack pipes, like just right there.
Yeah.
You know, it's not even that, you know, that these people are like smacked out or whatever. It's the fact that they're just doing it in the street, and you know, I think safety is probably a bigger issue than it is now. It's just like the I don't know if you saw the start of the week, one of the San Francisco 49ers new wide receivers, he was shot in the chest on Monday,
yeah.
I think it was, or someday last week, for his Rolex. He was wearing a Rolex, got out of the car and was shot in the chest. And yeah, like stuff like that does make you nervous. I think, like, I wouldn't advise walking around downtown San Francisco or anywhere in San Francisco really on your own, especially at night. Any year, but this year, I think there's probably a heightened level of that, for sure.
Yeah.
So whilst the work stuff is cool and it's exciting, like the those kind of aspects of it it's always in the back of your mind, you know. It's not an omnipresent thing. It's just something that you have to take a little bit more care and consideration into than you might have previously done. So yeah. But yeah, the conference itself I'm excited for. But yeah, these kind of things, especially like if you think about like being a parent as well, like the last thing you want is something happening to you and while you're out there and not be able to get home to your babies or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think being a parent really changes your perspective on how you assess risk and establish what your risk tolerance is for whatever. It's like there's a lot of like evening event things that happen on Dreamforce, like lots of happy hours, like there's concert and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, okay, like it almost if you've got the value out of the day up until the nighttime point, it does almost make you think, okay, I'll go for dinner and then I'll just go home and chill in the hotel or Airbnb or whatever and just, stay safe. It's just kind of a shame to have that kind of mentality, but also that's also a smart move as well, because the conference itself is draining lots of, I think every day last year I did 18,000 steps plus, and I'm 6'5", so my strides are quite long. So yeah.
Well, I think last year you and Steph saw me at my most vulnerable, let's say. I think I'd literally just been walking around aimlessly for like over an hour, not really having anything to do or not knowing what to do. And you both obviously just saw me and you asked me if I was okay. I can't even remember what I said, but you clearly knew that I needed to get away, and you just took me for a drink.
Yeah.
Which was needed.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. It's intense. It's intense, but yeah, it's good. It's a good time, and it's a good time for you to, take some inspiration from, and, it's like, I think we're quite lucky to be a part of the ecosystem that we're a part of and do the jobs that we do. But yeah, I don't want to shit on San Francisco too much, but I think without addressing those things, then you're not having an honest conversation about what it's really like.
Yeah, and I'd like something to be done about it, because I love San Francisco as a place, and I just hope that something gets done about it, because there's obviously a problem, and if we see it, then I would imagine the people out there see it even more so.
Yeah. It'll be good. Yeah. Unfortunately, you're not making it this time around.
No. Yeah, I'm not coming this year. Partly because of Jaden starting his new school. The last thing I needed was to be halfway around the world, and for him to have some kind of problem with school or getting into the house or anything like that. But also from my point of view, last year I don't really felt like I was contributing to an extent or was taking anything away from it. And because this conference especially, I found that it's more of a sales event than like a technical event, which is what I, especially for my role in general, is kind of what I need. So it's all well and good them announcing some products, but I need to be able to go into sessions to understand how they work and that kind of thing. I don't know if this year will be different, but last year I didn't get that in many sessions as well. We do a lot of filming around Dreamforce in terms of the different keynotes and announcements and things like that. And trying to find places last year to do any sort of filming was very challenging, because, as you said, it's so busy and it's very loud as well. So finding places where the microphone isn't going to pick up any external noise is very difficult. So we come to an agreement that I would stay in London and I would do all of the filming from our studio in London. So we've got that sort of control with the camera and the microphones and the sound levels and all that kind of stuff. So the videos should be better because we've got some really, really talented editors on our team. And it'll just be the case that they're not filmed on site in San Francisco.
Yeah. And for like a lot of it is streamed as well, like the sessions and the important stuff you can observe, you can kind of get from a distance. I think it's a super valuable event for people that are in like sales, marketing, partnerships and things like that. And if you're an executive level person, then you have a lot of opportunity for FaceTime with Salesforce employees and all that kind of stuff. So there's value. It's just like you say, if you're more on the technical side of things, like how much value do you actually get from it? But yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's different to, our we do a lot of events. I do a lot of events, and it's definitely a different beast compared to the rest of them.
Yeah.
Like you hear more from the mothership at this conference, and then the other events that we go to are more like community driven. Speaking of which, I hear you're going to a little community event in October.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. I'm really excited about this. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've actually got the book next to me that my talk is based on. So I'm going to be talking all about digital body language, which I started kind of learning about when I first joined my last company. Actually, no, it was when my last company was acquired by another company. But yeah, they, as part of like our welcome pack, they sent us all a book, which is called Digital Body Language: How to Build Trust and Connection No Matter the Distance.
That sounds interesting.
I'm just gonna. There we go. That's the book.
Yeah.
It's a really, really interesting book. I've read a few times. But yeah, that's going to be what my talk based on, because especially in this day and age, just everything is remote pretty much.
Yeah.
There's very few roles now where you'll be fully in an office. So being able to sort of show emotion and things like that through digital means is really important. So when you think of just when you think of communicating in general, how much of it is non-verbal? So much of it is non-verbal, and when everything went online, suddenly, even when you've got your camera on, you can't really tell someone's body language like you could do if you was in the room with them.
Yeah.
See, I just thought it
Yeah.
would, like in my head, I thought it would be an interesting thing to talk about, and obviously you guys must have agreed because you've said come along.
I'm on the board of this conference, by the way. So, but don't worry, I still did make Andrew just go through the normal process, and we went through the speaker selection process like normal, you know.
Yeah, there were no
favoritism. There's no backhand door action. Had I had my way, you would have been stripping off and showing us all your tattoos, Andrew. So,
yeah, do you know what that is? Apparently, that's still on the cards. Apparently, if anyone drops out, I'm straight in with that. So, I hope someone does drop out because I really want to talk. For context.
I was going to say I really want to get my clothes off.
No, for context, to anyone listening, one of the other sessions that I submitted was similarities between having tattoos done and project management work, which is something I don't think anyone on the planet has made a connection with, but I have. So if anyone drops out, I may also be talking on that, which will be fun. Because that will partly be a show and tell, where I will be getting tattoos out to show and explain different concepts, shall we say.
Get your tats out. Oh dear. This podcast is so cancelled. Yeah. How do you prefer, speaking of like conferences and going away, you obviously spend a night or multiple nights away from like the kids and that. Is there anything that you do to like prepare your kids? Do your kids understand what's going on when you're out at conferences?
Yeah, I think they especially understand the ones in San Francisco because they know that I'm gone for a lot longer. I always say to them, do you want any like candy or things like that brought back? Because obviously there'll be things in the States that they will probably have seen on YouTube that they would like, and then I'm suddenly in a place where I can get it for them. Yeah, in terms of the more local ones, I don't think they don't grasp, especially when there's a difference between me attending one and me speaking at one. Like they don't know the difference between that yet. I don't think they've ever seen me speak publicly. I might show them actually, because I'm pretty sure there will be a few videos on various YouTube channels to some of the conferences I've spoken at where I can show them that this is part of what I do. Yeah, this time it will be, going forward, it will be different because, like I've spoken about previously, never had to do any school run related stuff in the past because they both went to my wife's school. So it would almost be the same routine, just I'm not there. Like it would almost be the same routine as if I was working late or was going out for dinner with work in London. Whereas all of a sudden, if I go to anything now, I'll need to prep Jaden more for it. Kind of let him know that he's going to need to do certain things for himself until Mum's home. How about you? Obviously, yours are a bit younger than mine.
They I'd like go to quite a lot of conferences like in the States. So I think I will have been by when all's said and done this year, I will have been to the States 10 times this year.
Oh wow!
And they just know, they've got to the point now where they know that going to America or Daddy goes to America is just something, because I do it so frequently, is they know it's just something that I do. I go there for work. I think the things that I've done with them is when I say to them, it's just like I don't think they like because I co-parent and they spend more time with their mum than they spend with me anyway.
Wait.
They're kind of used to like the separation anyway. So if I go away for a slightly prolonged period of time, it doesn't have as much impact as it might have as it might have done like 4 or 5 years ago. And I think with them, it's just I've been able to tell them, Daddy goes away for work so that we can, have nice things, and we do all the nice things you like. They understand me and my partner, we go away for work and we work. It's not like they understand that we don't go for fun. It's actually our job to go out there, and it's part of that. So they don't think, oh, they're just going on holiday or whatever. And we work very hard. They also really want to go to America now themselves because of how much we go back. And my partner being from Texas, and because of that, it's one of those things. It's just like, if you want to come to America, we need to keep going because that's part of our job, and earn money so that we can take you and do all those nice things and create those kind of opportunities for you. So it's kind of just embedded into their understanding of it's part of what Daddy and Stephanie do now. So that's really for them. And then every time, we come back with something for them. So it's just like, oh, you're going away. What do I get? Before we've even left the house, like, we're not even there yet. It's just like, what do we get? And I'm just like, I don't know. You got to be good. We've got to hear from Mummy that you've been good, or you're not getting shit. So, but yeah, they like Lego. So we usually bring them back some kind of Lego, or try not to bring the candy back so much at this stage, with them being nearly 6 and nearly 4. But yeah, a little bit of Lego, or something sports related as well. Like, quite fortunate that I've managed to get my kids into American football and all that kind of stuff. So those things that are very classically American, especially American sports, then it's like we've got something that's Americanized to come back with, which is nice. But yeah, like going away, and like, I guess, like, they know if they're like well behaved and stuff, then they'll get something when we come back, and that's like another little motivator for them. So it takes the sting out of it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. What do you prefer, the American events over the Europe ones, or what would you, how do you compare them?
I enjoy my time in the States when I'm there, especially. I like barbecue, Mexican food. Generally, all of that is better in the States. So, on that side of things, then I enjoy the American events. But I think each event that I go to, each has its own vibe and its personality. And the events that you go to in London are great. Like the events that you go to, I go to various different cities, but tended to be the same cities repeatedly, rather than newer cities, there are still opportunities to go to newer cities and things. But everywhere you go, in the US is slightly different and cool. The good thing about traveling in Europe is, as we know, and probably a bunch of listeners in this podcast know, is like I'm a bit of an architecture nerd, so the architecture is better in Europe, and you see some the older stuff, and you go to America, and a lot of it is kind of copy paste in terms of like layouts and some of the buildings. But then you do go, like I went to Louisville in Kentucky for the first time in August, and like I thought that city was really cool and a little bit different to just going to like New York or Chicago. Actually, scratch Chicago. Chicago has an amazing architecture, but other kind of metropolitan cities that you might go to all kind of have a very similar feel. And then, but it's like the people, I guess, that you meet. The people in different cities in Europe, different countries in Europe are different, and then you go to different parts and different cities of the States, and those people are different. Like you don't go to America and it's all the same version of Americans. Like each city has its own identity and things like that, which I think is pretty cool. And each conference that I go to has its own identity, which is also really cool. So I wouldn't say I prefer one over the other. Each experience is different.
Yeah. Do you know what? You saying that, I don't know why, it just reminded me that it's taken me a long time to adjust to. I don't know if it's said across the States or if it's mostly in sort of California and San Francisco, but if anyone says, "Hi, how are you?" When I first heard it, it threw me completely because I thought they was engaging in a conversation, whereas they're not. That's just the way of saying hello. It's the equivalent of someone in London saying, "Are you all right?" It's the same thing. They don't want an answer. It's just.
I got a great story about that. I walked into a coffee shop. I think this was March 2022 in San Francisco, and that's the thing that I said to the person behind the counter, and I was like, "Hey, you all right?" As like a greeting, hello, and they were just like, they looked at me and they were just like, "Yeah," and I was just like, "Oh, okay." Like complete their reaction, they were just like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why?" Kind of look on their face, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, you're not used to that."
Yeah, that it completely threw me. And it was hi, how are you? And I started telling them about my day, and I could see in their expression they did not even
They don't give
how
a
my
shit.
day was. No, did not care.
Yeah,
Did
I'm
not
just
care. It
being
was like,
polite. What do you want?
yeah,
Pissed off.
yeah. Take your coffee and leave because I don't want to converse with you anymore.
Get out. But it's not in like that in every city. I think if you go to like the southern states and what have you, then everyone's usually like super friendly and does actually engage in that conversation. I think it just depends where you are, for sure. But yeah, the first time I said "you all right" to somebody as like a hello, a greeting, they're just like, "Yeah, fine." Like looked at me like I was insane. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah. Big travel, fly next Saturday, and then actually I fly next Saturday. And then I'm there until Thursday, fly home on Thursday, land at Heathrow on Friday morning, and then stay at Heathrow to fly to France on it. So one of my best friends is getting married in the south of France.
Yeah, I remember you said
my best friend that's not you is getting married in the south of France that weekend. Yeah, it's a fast turnaround. It's going to need to make sure pass out on that plane on the way home, otherwise I could be cooked for that wedding, and I've got to give a speech. So I tell you what, you and I both do a lot of public speaking.
That is a gorgeous.
Right?
Sorry, you go.
You and I both do a lot of public speaking, right? And I tell you what, preparing a speech for your best mate for his wedding, completely different ballgame. I got no problems writing a 20-minute talk on tech, but when it comes to doing a 3-minute speech for my best mate when the day he's getting married, that is a whole different ballgame. Anyway, sorry, that was a beautiful one.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a beautiful destination for a wedding.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's getting married in a French chateau, doing the ceremony, then having a little pool party on the day afterwards. It's one of these chateaus that have like, swimming pool attached to it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it'd be cool. And nice. He actually lives in the US now, so he lives in Philadelphia. So I don't get to see him all that much. So him being over in this side of the pond again is exciting. So we only see each other maybe a couple times a year now. So super excited for it to be on such a big occasion. So we're actually they actually fly to London today, landing on Saturday morning. So we're going to go, before we head to the airport on Saturday, going to go down to London and see them on Friday night and have a couple of drinks before they head to France and we head to the States and then be back again for the wedding. So it'll be nice. It'll be nice. I'm looking forward to it.
That does sound cool. How are you with the jet lag in general?
Mostly all right. I found when you fly over to the States, it does take a couple of days to adjust. Usually I'm only in the States for a week, so by the time I'm properly adjusted, I'm flying back home again. Which that's the killer, because you switch and you're not there for a prolonged period of time. Flying out there can usually get by all right. You might wake up at like 5 a.m. a few times. But otherwise then you kind of reset to normal. But when you fly back, and if you don't sleep on the flight home for very long, or you have like a little afternoon nap or what have you that day you get back, or the second day that you're back, you are cooked. You are totally cooked, because that will just throw you off for about a week after that. Usually I'm okay. Touch wood, I'm okay. Touch wood, I'm okay most of the time. But yeah, that does really depend on the sleeping on the flight home, which can be tough to do. But yeah, there's a couple of tricks I employ. Usually it involves having a couple of beers and a Benadryl to knock me out.
I have to say that I'm not good with the jet lag, but I think that's mostly because I cannot sleep on a plane. I don't know what it is, but I will never be able to sleep properly on a plane. And I think because of that, I've always really struggled with because like you say, that flight home, especially because everyone that I've been on, you've pretty much landed at like early hours of the morning. So I think last year I landed early hours Saturday morning, London time. So when you've not really slept all week, because it's a busy week anyway, and then you've been on an 11-hour flight where you've also not slept. I've really struggled with it.
Yeah, it's knackering. Yeah, powering through that first day is really tough. Really tough. Yeah. I mean, it's all right if you're going for a holiday. You just kind of accept that, like, you only do this once, kind of thing. But if you do it 8 times a year, like I do, you kind of get used to it. But I think it's probably I dread to think what it's actually doing to my body and how much time it's actually taking off the end of my life, because my body's not properly rested from doing all this stuff. So I think it'll be time to slow down soon and not do so much.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm at that point.
For now, it's great. For now, it's great.
Good.
Yes. What do you have from Reddit? I'm intrigued to see what you got for us. I thought the question last episode was a bit spicy, so I'm excited to see what you cooked up for us here.
I think this one's spicier. I'm not going to lie.
Oh God!
Right. So So as usual, I'll read the title, then I'll just read the comment. So yeah, the title is "Frustrated Dad. I'm so tired of selfish and entitled kids."
Holy shit!
Before I begin, I have to say that parts of this resonated with me a little bit, which is probably why I picked it. So yeah, my wife and I didn't come from great backgrounds, and we've done our best to give a life to our kids that we didn't have. Well, I feel like we shot ourselves in the foot. My teen girls are so ungrateful and treat each other pretty nasty. They don't listen, and I feel like a freaking broken record, constantly repeating myself on what they need to do. They steal clothes from each other and get mad when they see someone wearing something of theirs. It's freaking madness. I'm fed up and I'm about to strip them of all the luxuries they have. My wife often takes their side and often uses excuses like, it's that time of the month, or they're just being girls. These excuses don't cut it for me. Can any other fathers out there relate?
No, because fortunately I don't have girls. I don't relate with the having girls part. I think from what I understand and talking to my partner and from other parents that have gone through the hormonal changes, there is a big battle at that time of year for parents of young girls. However, I guess it's kind of, I guess I'm going to come back to my list that I mentioned earlier. Like, if you've not done, I imagine doing something like a list in retrospect when they are older and teenagers like that, it's going to be so much more difficult to change their behavior because they're grown.
Yeah.
Short of getting a time machine, I've got no good answer for that.
Yeah.
But at the point of, to their point, you strip them of all the things that they like. Cool. That was all right. Strip them. And then they only get them back when they start, you know, playing ball properly, or like treating each other better, or whatever the values are that you want to instill in them, I guess. But I imagine that's going to be a hell of an uphill battle for a while. I'm probably got to stick with it.
Yeah. As someone that grew up with two younger sisters that did exactly this, first of all, I would say to shut up and listen to your wife, because as a man, you have no idea what it is like to go through anything as a young woman. That's just a fact. So you don't everything that they're going through is going to affect their relationship with you, with each other. So if your wife is telling you certain things, you need to listen to them, because unlike you, she has been through this. I would also pick your battles. That's one thing I've learned in general as a parent, is to just, it's a waste of time trying to battle everything. There's no need for it. You need to pick your battles and sometimes let things slide, because sometimes it's going to make your life easier. It's going to make your children realize you're not always on top of them about certain things.
Yeah.
And that and there can then be some give and take, because you can then say, I've not pulled you up on this, this and this. However, now you're taking the piss a bit, so we need to do something about this, or I'll take your nice things away.
Yeah. Pick your battles, because you just get frustrated and exhausted.
Yeah.
Why make life harder for yourself?
Exactly.
There you go. I think that's a good comment to end on. Why make life harder for yourself?
Actually, there is one final thing that I would say on this. Let me just read it again quickly, because I don't want to. So we said teen girls, but not specified the age. So I know this from experience with my younger sisters, in that there are certain types of the pill, the contraceptive pill, that will have a very negative effect on moods and emotions. Like I said, I don't know the age of the girls in question with this. So it may be completely irrelevant, but it might not be. It might be that there's, if for example they're on the contraceptive pill, it might be a case that they're on one that doesn't agree with them, and in that case, I would maybe suggest talking to their doctor about maybe getting it changed, or dosages amended, or anything like that, because that can have a big impact, especially certain types. But yeah, like I said, that might be totally irrelevant, because it might not be the case here. But if it is, it's worth taking into consideration.
Good advice, Andrew.
Thank you. I have my moments.
Cool. Well, I guess that just about does it for Tech That Pod episode 8. I think this has been.
Yeah, I think it's 8. Yeah, like and subscribe for more tips on me talking about the contraceptive pill. I don't think that's going to make it in. I'll be honest. As soon as that come out of my mouth, I think this is not what I should be saying.
On that bombshell, it's time to end the show. Just do what Andrew said. Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed these ramblings, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Yeah. Love you, man.
I love you too, buddy. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Cheers.